This is Anthony from MakeWeirdMusic.com. This video is the first episode in a series called Failure to Fracture, which is about all of the things that have stood in the way of my success in playing the song Fracture by the band King Crimson. There is an introductory episode called Episode 0 that has more information if you'd like some background. For now, let's begin with a quote from Donald Rumsfeld. If you don't know who Donald Rumsfeld is, you can look him up. He's a character in the recent history of the United States. And I'll read the quote from my computer here. Reports that say something hasn't happened are always interesting to me, because as we know, there are known knowns. There are things we know we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say, we know there are some things we do not know. But there are also unknown unknowns. The ones we don't know, we don't know. When I look back at videos of myself playing Fracture from 10 years ago or a couple years ago, I see a guy who doesn't even know what he doesn't know. I started learning Fracture as a teenager, probably somewhere around 1998 or 2000. My dad had said it was an impossible piece of music to play, and all I cared about at the time was shredding and playing Dream Theater and Steve Vai, so I thought, well, if it's an impossible piece of music, I should probably try it out. Fast forward 15 years, after lots of intense study, and I'm still unable to play it, right? So February 2015, I find myself in a course, a Guitar Circle introductory course directed by Robert Fripp in Mexico, of all places. And one of the first things he asks the introductory class is, how many of you are self-taught? And I raised my hand because I spent so many years sitting in a bedroom teaching myself to play guitar, listening to CDs and reading magazines and books. And he said, what you're effectively telling me is that somebody who knows nothing about the guitar, nothing about performing on an instrument, and barely anything about music at all, taught you everything you know. So it was a very interesting lesson to learn. In the first few days of the course, we spent every morning in the practice of doing nothing, which is sitting in a room with Fripp, doing nothing, staring at a wall. If anyone walked in, they would think, you're a lunatic. It's just a group of people sitting and staring quietly in a room. But what we're really doing is bringing our mental attention to the top of our head and navigating downward through the body and giving every muscle permission to relax. And he also spent a lot of time talking about the Alexander technique, which is a framework for good use of your body. And there are teachers on staff at the course to teach Alexander technique. First few days of this course were a little miserable because I was thinking, when am I going to get to the guitar stuff? All we're talking about is how to sit, how to stand, how to breathe. But then my body started adapting to that stuff. And Fripp had said about the practice of doing nothing, you can't have your body do something until it knows how to do nothing. And through this practice, I familiarized myself a little bit with this relaxed version of myself, this person that was at peace inside of myself. It took about 6 months of Alexander technique practice and the practice of doing nothing before I could actually start picking Fracture at full speed with the recording and not be in pain. It was like monumental. I spent hours recording myself that night in August 2015 and in a couple following nights just sending videos to friends saying, I can't believe it, I can actually do this. And since then, I've been working on bringing more of that relaxation into my playing Fracture. So here's some of the ways that I've found stress gets in the way of me playing Fracture. What I've learned over all these years is Fracture is a piece of music that requires utmost concentration. And that is only possible when you're concentrating on the music and nothing else. Anything else coming to mind while playing is my definition of stress. So If I try shoving that stuff to the side, I end up shoving it into my muscles or into my hand, and then I see my pinky pulling in, or even my ring finger. I feel the pick start slipping out of my fingers. I feel my arm tensing up. I feel my shoulder tensing up. I feel pain. It sounds unpleasant. So bringing stress and tension to a piece like Fracture is really evident in some of my older videos where I'm holding the pick and it's like this, and it's this really awful, not only ugly, but clearly stressed out person trying to play this stuff in front of a camera. So I've learned so much since this course in February of last year, and I know I still have a long way to go. But when I bring stress and tension to Fracture, it sounds terrible, and I'll try to play it too fast to give myself a little bit of stress. So yeah, it sounds terrible, and I can feel my hands just locking up, and I'm thinking more about how am I playing this fast? I'm not thinking about playing it well. I'm thinking too much. As Captain Beefheart said, somebody's had too much to think. So when I'm relaxed, then I can bring that relaxed and peaceful performing person to the instrument. And usually that means starting slow and starting gently. When I pick up the guitar and just start playing Fracture, it's the wrong thing. But it's like this default mode because I've spent so much time doing it. But if I just play it slow and gently, I can identify, oh, I feel some tension here. I can pay a little more attention, and I can identify where I'm going wrong that day. And some days I play it really well, some days I don't. But when I start hearing a lot of this scratchy, angular picking, I know that my hand isn't in the right position. When I feel pain or tension, I know that I'm putting stress somewhere. So it's really been an interesting year where I have spent so much time just learning about myself and where I store stress. And I strongly encourage you, if you can find an Alexander Technique teacher in your area, definitely check it out. Even just a few lessons will be eye-opening. It's mind-blowing stuff. So if you are trying to learn Fracture and you find yourself exhibiting stress in different ways or in the same ways, I'd love to hear it. Leave a comment or email me or find me on social media. I'm really easy to find, and I'd love to chat with you. I think the next time, in the next episode, I'm going to talk specifically about the pick. These picks that come from the Guitar Circle are triangular, and I hated them when I first got them, but now I love them and I can't play without them. Anyway, so until next time, I hope to hear from you, and I hope that there was some value in this video. Thanks.